Guys, in the video that just went up was short. This one's going to be short also, but what has happened in that video, I mentioned there was dueling reports about whether the Ayatollah was killed or was he alive, or if they just weren't sure. Well, now they're saying breaking. Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is confirmed dead. This is from Israeli officials. They're saying his body has been found. Now, how important is this? In the last few videos, we've discussed that trigger point. The red line would be to kill the Ayatollah or his son, and he may be also gone. We don't know yet, but this was the trigger for all out, push every button we got, aim at every place we have. Now, what may have happened last night, if we think about it for a moment, is that they already knew maybe the first couple strikes, because I've got a picture of the compound from a satellite today that's showing that compound is just ruins right now. Anyway, right in the middle of town. But this is more than likely why just a few moments ago in the video I just put up that the U.S., the FBI, Homeland Security, and that group have put up a nationwide alert for the U.S. Now it's all kind of coming together, and possibly that, and maybe it would be the best scenario if it's possible. I don't really know. We don't know how much damage was done by the U.S. and Israel, but I do have a couple of maps that show some of that information. But again, the trigger point was exactly this. And we talked about cutting the head off the snake, and I think that's been done. We didn't cut the head off in Venezuela, but we took the snake and left parts of it behind, I guess. But anyway, here we have the trigger point. Now, again, did they know this last night? Someone probably immediately knew that it was in that area that survived it and got some information out, right? And so maybe that was maybe then the button was pushed. And we've seen the major retaliation, because I said it didn't make sense. Remember this morning I said it wouldn't be a good chess move to get everybody peed off at you in the neighborhood all at one time, especially some that have very similar ideology. You know, leave them out of it as much as possible, even though the U.S. has made deals and Israel's got close airports, but we've made deals with different nations there to have military bases. We would trade, we would kind of create a safety zone for them. We would buy oil from them and all of that, you know, been going on for a long, long time. But again, the trigger point has been reached. Now, did we see the big response last night? Because again, they probably knew it right away. And again, it took Israeli officials to verify it. They've got his body. And again, I don't know if it was martyrdom that happened, because it definitely, they knew the capabilities after what happened at Midnight Hammer a few months back. And what in martyrdom will cause a multi-nation reaction from different places in the world. And that's why, again, the U.S. now has a nationwide alert. Now, think, just a side note on that if something happens, that changes a lot. It's not exactly martial law, but it could lead to it very quickly. Anyway, Israeli officials have reported that Iranian Supreme Leader, again, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is dead after the U.S. and Israel strike on Iranian targets. This comes after reports suggested that the Ayatollah fled Tehran and was moved to a secure location during the strikes. I'd heard that same thing. But per BBC, Netanyahu said earlier there are growing signs that Khamenei is gone. And that was earlier, but now, in the beginning of this, they have confirmed they have the body. Now, think about this, guys. They have the body. Now, how did that happen? That brings in a whole different side to the story. We can't just read through it. Then what was it like, a team, kind of like, a SEAL team or something like that in the IDF that came in after the attack, secure the location, and then retrieve the body? Or was the other scenario, and it could be both, there was help inside the nation itself, because we'd seen the riots, and we'd seen pretty much there was not a lot of citizens getting killed the last few days. It looks like a lot of these people were really hunkering down instead of worrying about that. Anyway, Trump, sent out the signal, now's your chance to take your nation back. He didn't want a ground war. That's a good thing. And but man, there's been attacks all over the Middle East. Now they're saying that Netanyahu commented earlier with updates. He said the Israelis say they are still striking targets inside Iran. And Trump or someone in the administration put out earlier today that this could go on for days, because I guess you've got entrenchment. Not only that, guys, we're close to Ezekiel 38. If it's not close, I hate to see the real thing, because this now has the response, and again, they may have known that the Ayatollah was dead last night, has brought the entire Middle East into this. And if they're saying this is not just a one-time strike overnight like the nuclear thing was in Operation Midnight Hammer, but an ongoing situation, because it's not just one area, for one, and they're talking about taking out their Navy. Remember in this morning's video? And you got the Strait of Hormuz, and it looked like this morning, like again, I had to leave and take care of some errands, but this morning, that people were kind of bogging down on coming out and going in. There was a lot of ships stopped and anchored, and not many going through that crossing. But again, Israel's still attacking. The U.S. is set up there. They did not need two different battle groups in place for one strike. So they meant to go in and change the situation. Trump, one of the things he said, and if I can find a video of it, I'll put that up, but you may have already seen it, to where he said, enough is enough. We're tired of it. And just quickly, go to Breitbart a minute, and it started at the top with the updates. And of course, Trump bombs Iran. Now it's flashing reports the Ayatollah is dead. They're saying, and this was mentioned earlier, that they were going to take out the missile factories. It looks like they have. And Trump is demanding a surrender. And he says he wants the Iranian people to take back their nation from the mullahs. And as we scroll down, we got two more. It says, report, Israel attacks 500 targets. Iran fires back at Israel, U.S. bases in the region. And they did. They hit one of our big Navy bases that was pretty much evacuated according to the fog of war. Again, Israel was set and ready. They just needed a little bit of backup. And you can imagine with two aircraft carrier fleets, battle groups, that there's a lot of air supremacy, a lot of missile takedowns, but still targets were hit throughout the Middle East. Different countries were brought into it, and they're getting ready, according to some of the reports, that the UAE is going to retaliate back now that big hotel's on fire. Now, I don't think a lot of the people in the Middle East were very happy with Iran to start with, or their leadership, but they were going to try to stay as neutral as possible, considering that for years and years we've had U.S. bases again throughout the area, right? But now they have condemned the Iranian attacks on the Gulf nations. That changed the game. But they said they would if the Ayatollah was killed, and so it's like an all-out deal. Now, where are we at? The video before this, our nationwide alert. I'm telling you guys, any big gatherings, any place where there's protests, anything like that, avoid all of that. And you've got to keep your heads up. You've got to be aware of the situation and who you have to be aware of, because you've seen books and movies and everything about certain keywords that are sent to people that have been psyoped to death, to get a phone call and one word is said, and They could be the preacher in the town, right? Runs a grocery store. I can't remember any names off the top of my head, but when they hear that word in the phone, they kind of get that crazy look in their eye, go and pick up a gun and go out and kill a bunch of people or attack a bunch of people. They're implants. And, we don't know if that's happening, but it's definitely been projected in many media formats. And Saudi Arabia said this morning they were strongly condemning the Iranian missile attacks against U.S. bases hosted by their Gulf allies, and they threatened to take action if Iran continues violating their sovereignty. And so you got the UAE, you got Saudi Arabia, and this is gonna bring a conflict, not only from each nation, but probably internally in each nation, because of maybe different ideologies and different groups. You know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like we know we've got Trojan horses here. More than likely, throughout the Middle East, there's proxy Trojan horses in other nations there. The Saudi government affirmed its full solidarity with and unwavering support for the brotherly countries, and its readiness to place all its capabilities at their disposal in support of any measures they may undertake. And one of the things you got to think about is the way that Iran had been done by its leadership. It was kind of a blemish on peace in the Middle East because of their proxies again. You had Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis. They were the instigators in a lot of things. If they would have stopped their dealings, then this may not have happened. And after that third meeting a couple of days ago, it was over. It said the Saudi statement further warned the grave consequences resulting from the continued violation of state sovereignty and the principles of international law. The kingdom calls on the international community to condemn the blatant attacks and to take all firm measures necessary to confront Iranian violations that undermine the security and the stability of the region. The Brotherhood is stirred up. We talked about it. Now, Jordan, they shot down some missiles flying over their territory, and one image showed that it looked like a burnt-out missile hull that really didn't do a lot of ground damage. It landed like on a brick patio or something, but it was a burnt-out hull, like it had burned up in the air and landed there. Now, they haven't said where they recovered the Ayatollah's body. They just said they have it. Now, this is a satellite photo. It was released by the New York Times from some satellite. Doesn't say which one, which service. But it says it shows damage to Khomeini's compound in Tehran, which also reportedly serves as his official residence. I'm probably 99% sure, guys, that he was not there. I'm just saying so, but I'm not saying they didn't know where he was, but they went ahead, and this was just a little reminder that the end of that regime, it was a message to the Iranian people that want their country back, that it's like knocking out the swamp all in one fell swoop, plus going around to all the illegal governors and crooked crap in the U.S. at one time and taking them out saying, now you're free. That's what's the opportunity there. And what they've got to watch for is anytime this happens, think about it. You create a power vacuum, and if the people aren't in place, which maybe this has been in the intelligence with what Kushner and that other group is doing as far as peace between Iran and the U.S. and other nations, maybe that has been thought out and put in place. In other words, this morning, the original or the real, I think he's called the Prince of Iran, he's been in the New York area living for years and years in exile because when the mullahs took over, he fled for his life. But he sent out messages this morning for the people to rise up also and to take the country back. And he would probably be willing, once that happened, to come back in if they wanted him to. But he was forced out again by the regime now that's under attack, but they're attacking back. Guys, and this just popped up. I was almost through the video. Iran's terrorist Revolutionary Guard has blocked now the Strait of Hormuz. That's just an image from it. I don't know the age of that image. But I noticed again this morning, we're about to take a look at the map live right now, that there was backed up ships on the outgoing and incoming edges of that curve in the Straits there. And so let's take a look at it again. Now, this is going to be another total different area or another arena of war. You've got Chinese and Russian naval vessels in this area. But I don't know if they'll want to get involved with this or not, but the blockade won't hold, because what was said on the early video this morning, Trump said we're going to annihilate their Navy. And if you look at a good map of Iran, a good satellite map, it wouldn't be hard to do. They have miles and miles of beachfront property all the way through the Persian Gulf and up on the other side of the Straits of Hormuz. All of that area is large. And so, but there's, of course, with satellite technology, they know exactly where the ships are and where the naval stations are. That's been known for a long time. So they're like, if you've got air superiority, then they're setting ducks. And so this is, again, one of the few things that Iran has left to do. But guys, they're backed into a corner, just like a wounded animal. They're going to come out with everything they got because they have nothing left to lose. It says Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, announced on Saturday afternoon that the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz was closed to all shipping traffic, as implicitly threatening to attack any commercial vessel attempting to pass between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. Again, both of those places, they have naval vessels, but on the other side of both of these gulfs is friendly nations that we have naval situations set up too. Remember, but one was evacuated, maybe more than that one, and it was brought up because it was struck this morning. And the chain effect, guys, look at this. The UK Maritime Trade Operations Agency said today it received multiple alerts from ships in the region that the IRGC broadcast radio warnings that passage through the strait was not allowed. And maybe that's why I saw such a big backup this morning. There was not much going through, but it was getting backed up. And so you've got trillions and trillions of dollars worth of oil tied up right now. Sources in the trading industry told Reuters that several tanker owners, oil majors, and trading houses had suspended crude oil, fuel, and liquid fuel natural gas shipments via the strait. Gas oil also, not gas, but oil was up $2 early this morning per barrel because of this situation. And this goes back to why Trump said it may take several days. They're saying that the executives at one trading desk, our ships will stay put for several days. The cost is going to go up. The supply demand is going to go up. People are going to be affected by it. Here, we don't rely totally on them. We have some of our own, but again, world prices will be affected and it will trickle down. Reuters cited satellite tracking data that showed oil tankers piling up near major ports such as Fujairah in the United Arab Emirates to avoid passing the Strait of Hormuz. Financial Times reported that insurance companies are threatening to cancel policies and raise coverage prices for vessels traveling through the Gulf and Strait of Hormuz. So they've got two reasons not to travel through, right? And an insurance company in war, they would love to cancel you. And so what would happen then? The price would continue to rise in oil. Now we're looking at live satellite tracking right here in the center. And this bend, guys, that's the Straits. You've got Iranian naval bases all throughout this area. Let me back it out some. It continues down through here, all the way up along its entire coastline, different naval bases. But because it's mountainous, doesn't look like a lot of room in any rivers. I looked at it very close on some satellite images, including these. And they're kind of out in the open. The same way, if you think about the way the Israeli Navy is, you're either in the Mediterranean or you don't have a Navy pretty much, right? That's the same situation with them. So it would be like them just running the coastline, knocking these ships out. So let's pull this up a little closer here. And you can see this side, we've got U.S. bases. Back it up again, right through here is Qatar, and they've been hit. And the other side, you've got Iranian bases and things like that. Now, the red usually indicates a moving vessel, but you've got a lot of anchored vessels. Let me show you right here. And most of these, if you click on them, are big oil carriers. Right here, the Gas Lagoon LPG tanker called the CNJSN. It's a station. Insurance company probably got on the phone with them right away. Just give us one reason to cancel you. Just give us one reason. But as soon as the war is over, we'll get your policy back in place for you. But let's cancel you, and we'll talk about it later. But guys, again, looking at this, it's definitely in, again, 20% of the world's oil. Is nothing happening here. Just a couple little things. They're not actually going through the strait. It's just not saying they're fully anchored yet. So I don't know. You don't see that very often. Look here, probably a pretty good anchorage in this area out of the shipping lane. See this? More than likely, oil tankers. There it is. Marine traffic, crude oil tanker. Not sure where it's from, guys. Hormuz. And a lot of times you've got flags on certain ships will carry flags from other nations, kind of get them out from under certain tariffs and blockades and things like that. But it looks like not a lot going through it. That will not be tolerated long, and this will have a kind of, if you think about looking at both sides of it, and I'm bad about that, is the fact that even though Russia and China appear to have a lot of interest in Iran, maybe one aspect is they thought maybe the mullahs would be taken out and some of their assets would be in place for this new generation. Maybe it's going to make them think, wait a minute, maybe we don't need to be on Iran's side, especially China, because we cannot take that hit on our imports. I'm not saying that's true, but they're going to be they're going to be playing 3D chess, every country, and they're going to be looking at their advantages, the disadvantages. What would be the advantage of kicking back, letting this pass? It would be definitely better than starting an additional war and using all the assets up here. But look, think about the other thing about these two choke points here. That's the choke point, but look at the anchorage involved with the choke points. They're easy targets, and they're full of oil. You remember what happened with Iraq, and they burned all the oil rigs. It will happen if it's allowed to happen. We don't know how much damage was done on their Navy yet, and we don't know how much of their missiles and rockets how many were taken out in the attacks. Remember, 500 targets were being hit by Israel, and they're still attacking. They got Big Brother right there with them, and that's why now they're emboldened, and they should be. If I was going to do it, I would want the U.S. on my side too. Again, I hope nobody in that wants Iran free is hurt. But it looks like they have some demons running their country, just like we see around the world. When you murder 45, 50,000 people because they don't like the way the mullahs are acting, trying to start wars everywhere and taking all their money and making them wear whatever and do this and do that, just under that law that they have. Complete tyranny and overrule. And so I hope it works for the Iranian people. That's where my prayers will be. I agree, and they've been crying for freedom for a long time. I think it's over 40 years ago that the mullahs took over. Someone checked that, but I think that's what's happening. But there are, now, when you talk about 500 targets, that's a lot of targets in this area. This is Tehran here, and they hit a lot of here. Here's Kashan, and different. We looked at that earlier. They've hit every major target that they could hit probably within the first couple of hours. Now what we're seeing is different things are lighting up on their satellite and radar images. In other words, maybe something's been opened, or maybe something's been pulled out of a hidden bunker, or maybe this group's been caught moving. Anyway, Trump told them it's over with. So now he's letting, I'm sure we're shooting down missiles. We are there. More than likely, who knows, it could be just intelligence. And Israel's coming in here and attacking Iran. You've got 500 targets, but we'll see. We're going to get reports in the next day or so, and it'll kind of, again, clear that fog of war out. But guys, this is what we got right now. They've got the Straits blocked, which is not good, and you can see it. That is going to jam traffic up, both in the Gulf of Oman, Persian Gulf. That's the Gulf of Oman, and then coming out. Look at the shipping lanes that come out of that area. They go around Sri Lanka, through Malaysia, look at that, to Japan, China. Look at that. All this is connected with Kamchatka, Russia. Anyway, guys, that's what we're looking at. We got almost as many ships as we do airplanes. By the way, while we're here, I'm glad I said that. Let's look at the air traffic in that area, because I heard that most of the Middle East Gulf nations are not, it's not just Iran, let me put it that way, that has their airspace shut down, but a good bit of the Middle East. Let's see if that's still in effect. And this is Flight Radar 24. That's how you can look it up, guys. This is the free program. You can get some that are more extensive, things like that. I think some different people that do the software have, where you can get much more information. And if you do get the ones that do show military activity, never put that up onto a YouTube channel or anywhere else, really, because you could be putting our troops in harm's way. But Iran is completely empty. And what I've been noticing every day, and any day that we've seen, or you've seen maps of this area with flight radar, guys, there'd be a few planes coming in from China or from Pakistan or Afghanistan coming through this area. Now there's nothing. Not only that, look at Kuwait. Look at this. Look at northern Saudi Arabia. Jordan has a couple planes at the airport. A few coming in off the Mediterranean and pulling back up into Israel. Look at that. So you've got the ships shut down. You got a lot of air traffic shut down. It looks like it's all being either pushed south, but more of it is probably being pushed through Georgia. Let's see, this area, yep, right through there, guys. So you've got a lot of area, parts of Afghanistan, parts of Pakistan, no traffic. There's none except possibly a few, but it looks like they are definitely avoiding the Persian Gulf. And I saw some climb. I watched one guy early this morning. He came out of this airport in a big passenger jet. Now, you couldn't see it, but over to the side, when you clicked on it, it showed his plot. And this guy come out of there, man, it looked straight up. And by the time he got over here over Riyadh, I mean, he was at 32,000 feet before you knew it on the chart. And then he made a hard bank right and went right or straight north. And so there was some getting out of Dodge happening at that point. And right now there's some staying out of Dodge. Look at that. You know how much air traffic normally would be in there? Even through these times, Iran had some, and you saw more in this area, but you've got proxies throughout Lebanon, Syria, of Israel. And they were getting hit last night. And so now are we going to see the airline insurance companies start calling? And if you get in there, or they've already made their call, you're going to lose your insurance? We don't know. You know, that's just on the side. But everything is affected. Right now, again, oil prices are going to go up because Things are transported by air also, and the price of anything through these routes will go up somewhat. And we don't know what's going to happen here. This area got hit once very hard through Baghdad and all of this area through Kuwait, excuse me. And all of these towns, you looked at the video, you saw it, where we even had the landing zone of the Sumerians all through this area, and it was wiped out by nuclear war one time before. That's a lot of people say there's myths. I don't think those texts were put together as myths, the oldest on the planet. Anyway, guys, it's happened before there. We don't know what's going to happen next. My prayer is world peace, and for the civilians to rise up and not be hurt. Take their country back, just like we did just a little over a year ago. Take your country back, and you're still going to have skirmishes and battles with the hardcores. But now you can be in charge. Again, they took out the swamp into Tehran, guys. We're watching it. You watch it. This is a heads up, guys. It's all live, so bear with me. But be safe.